Susan. I'm from Worldpeacefull, and I'm going to read you some philosophy I've written. This was actually published in 2012, so I've been aware about earth changes for a while, but I guess everyone has. I think over the last really 20, 30 years, earth changes have been evident, despite those who are in denial about it. I think today they won't be. I think they will actually be very silent. But of course, many of the skeptics that came out and spoke out against climate changes or global warming had vested interests of some sort in keeping business as usual. And this is what happens when we become part of institutions, when we believe that our well-being or our survival is dependent on where we work, rather than the very planet that provides the resources that are inputs into that production. And this shows us just how disconnected we really are from the reality around us. Often people refer to the cities as the real world or business as the real world. It's actually not. The real world is outside of the cities. In fact, the real world is inside of you. When you become still, when you put an intention for truth, you will start to realize what the real world really is. Now, in terms of this material planet, the real world is in the ecosystem that surrounds us. This is our protective sphere through the atmospheres, through the forests, through various processes, transpiration, photosynthesis, the sun's rays, and how that catalyzes photosynthesis through the sun hitting the chlorophyll in plants, the oxygenation of the planet through the release of oxygen, the uptake of CO2 actually in the trunks of trees, that transpiration that takes place as CO2 is released, CO2 is uptaken, oxygen is released. It's a very, very complicated system that most on this planet have absolutely no idea about, if not all, actually. If you think about the various chemical compounds on the planet and how things synthesize and interact, and the very sensitive nature of the system we're in, which is constantly monitoring for change. Human beings are quite distinct from that. The only changes we're monitoring for is in respect of stocks. We're often looking at the financial markets and we look for changes there. We look for change in respect of opportunity so that we can produce various products and services. We look for changes socially to see how we can fit in and belong and adapt ourselves within that human configured environment, which is completely removed from the natural systems. We go to supermarkets to buy food. We don't know how it's grown for the most part. More people are moving into cities, more children are growing up with technology. They're not going outside as much. We're getting a rewiring of the neural networks in the brain. There's so much changing, and we don't even know that we're changing our own DNA. And we're doing it because of the great levels of fear that have permeated the planet. Now, fear makes us more controllable. Fear shuts us down from really experiencing our full potential. Fear makes us lose sleep. It affects our health. It makes us more willing, to control various others, to try and put a stop to something that causes us discomfort, rather than looking into the very nature of our own fear. Now, the times that we have come to us at an unconscious beckoning of us. We want to see change. I know everyone does. People are very concerned with the cost of living. They're very concerned with the breakup of the family, which is absolutely essential for peace and for stability, real stability and security. People are concerned with the juggernaut of corporations They're very concerned at the various transfer pricing mechanisms that's going on within multinational companies and their various practices at times, which are not always legitimate. We've locked people into a system of constant productivity, and we've called that contributing to society, but it's not. People are not contributing to society, they're contributing to an economic system. They're an input to that system. The true contributions to society come through its welfare and well-being. And really how we're faring is this whole cacophony of structures serving us or not? These are really important questions. And I think if we don't find the answers to it, nature will certainly resurrect big changes that will force us to rethink the way that we live and the way that we interact with one another, which has been very detached, very self-serving. We've forgotten about our relationships with each other and our families, in our relationships with our partners or husbands or wives, with our children. We're losing connection with the children as they get plugged into technologies. There are really, really fundamental issues happening right now that people are so busy, they just don't have time to stop and really address this. They're very disempowered. So this time that we're moving through right now is one of great relearning. It's one of empowerment of self. It's one of starting to disconnect, or if you like, dismiss this whole violent paradigm. It's going, because it does not work in harmony with planetary systems, nor with social systems. It only causes division. So I'm going to read for you a poem that I've written. It's called Earth Changes. It is time to change. Earth changes are no coincidence. Terror, Earth, has been in terror. For on the surface has been a syntax error. Duality of life simply means humans choose fear or love. But the dove was excluded as violence protruded. Fighting was protracted, integrity contracted, interest colluded, freedom was deluded. For this was the fail or fall from grace. Negativity abused the platform from which beliefs were constructed. Infrastructure framing the status quo with no spare change. Puppeteers pull the strings. Tightening the safety net was the bell that rings. For to ring the bells means change now. As the tourniquet of gears and levers, expanding fears, tightening the grip. To watch the beauty in life fade to grey. As many lonely hearts worked for pay. Seeing different values, yet they are afraid to change and turn a fresh new page to rewrite a new book of revelations. The message of our time sifts the wheat from the chaff, is to embrace change, for you are the change that lives. And when you change, your world changes. Self-responsibility is the clarion call to you. It is the roll call. Are you in line or present? To look within and weed the Garden of Eden, for deserts become fertile in good soil. For many dark shadows have formed. Many addictions have torn the fabric of family apart. To repair this state of disrepair is to look at the weaknesses with care. For crevices have opened wide. To fill the cracks with healing spaces is to bridge the divide. To look into all the faces and allow the journey to begin. For we are all journeymen and women akin. We are here to learn the lesson of one. For to be ourselves is the sun. To thyself be true is the moon. This is the mantra that heals when we choose. We will never lose. It is the light of awareness that seals your fate. Earth changes are a wake-up call. Did you get the message? It is a call to action. Have you moved? Or should the earth move? For it is time to feel the good, the holy, and the beautiful in your eyes. For there are no chosen people in disguise, only those who choose love. They are the doves that inherit the earth. And for those who don't, they can choose again. For it is never too late to clear the slate, to create a renewable state. And that always happens as the old makes way for a new today, rebuilding the new earth of tomorrow. So friends, don't feel angst. Don't feel sorry as change happens. All have moved the world to its precipice, and some will jump up into the unknown, opening up new vistas of knowledge with courage, and some will not. They will remain in fear until they are not. Change tears down rigid structures, designed to stop natural flows. Acupuncture, the pressure points that grow, can be painful until released, as tension brings intention for ascension to higher pretexts. As above heaven, so below earth, heart. Is to know that all is as it should be, in brackets, right cause. Align with freedom of expression, truth laws. As each new lesson takes us closer to home, for no one was ever in control. All have played roles brilliantly, as the cage was really the stage of your life, and you wrote the plot and the script to find the elliptical traces that outline for a big emotion picture, moving it to centre stage, the bright lights shining as a central sun, as change is the curtain call at the end of this play, ushering in a new hall of wisdom shining, as the final scene is a new earthrise, screening from Universal Pictures, a new beginning. So yes, we're on the precipice of great change, is what really this is all about, and we have to face this. The more you face your inner discord, your own negativity, and clear it, the less disrupted will be the planet. Believe it or not, we're very connected with the planet. The planet has its own way of cleansing itself. It's disrupting something that's disruptive. And it's not to, state that these changes are some sort of punishment. They're not. It doesn't mean it's all over. It's not. It truly is change, and we're the beacon of that. We want this change. And I think we will be recalibrating to another way of seeing, and in my vision, it's a love-based reality where we learn to deal with our own negativity within ourselves and we stop projecting it onto other people. If we have problems, we come together and we resolve those problems with respect and real integrity as we're dealing with people very different from ourselves. We can no longer play the childish games of us against them and blame like children, who don't know any better. We as adults do know better. There's always two stories. There's different sides, different perspectives, different ways of seeing. But the highest self-love is to respect others as yourself. So the real work is really removing a lot of our own unhappiness that's come about through the way we've been raised, the way we've seen ourselves. None of that was true. Once the fear and the guilt and the shame dissolves, your potential will open up like a flower, and it will. Everybody's here to do great things. There's no saviors. We're all here to really save ourselves in the sense of healing. So I believe our happy destiny is unavoidable. I really do. And sometimes one has to go through very difficult times in order to awaken to the truth of who they are. I believe this period of time we're going through is exactly that. So with that, I send you joy and happiness and excitement for this adventure as it opens up. Go and help people when they need it. Be loving to each other. You're going to get to know more and more people as things change more and more. So with that, I send you empowerment and light. Bye.